Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting. Envisioned Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. An affiliate of Direct Impact Broadcasting and Creative Broadcasting, presenting the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, a show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The EmPower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Welcome to EmPower Hour with Jaresha. I am your host, Jaresha Moore. A little bit about myself. I am a best-selling author with over 18 years of combined experience in education, finance, healthcare, business management, and development, owner and founder of EmPower on Purpose, LLC, where we provide leadership training and personal professional coaching and consulting services, certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team, and the owner of Envisioned Broadcasting radio station. Before I introduce my special guest this evening, I would like to announce an upcoming workshop sponsored by EmPower on Purpose. So we know that it's November, and we're approaching the end of November. And before you know it, we'll be saying goodbye to 2019 and hello to 2020. Don't wait until 2020 to level up and get focused. You still have one chance to get signed up for the last networking vision board workshop that's being offered this year. The next workshop is Sunday, December 1st at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. During this workshop, you will learn a proven framework to help you tap into your true desires and dreams, use those desires to set intentional goals, and then outline an achievable plan. Whether you have created a vision board in the past or this will be your first vision board, I guarantee that you will enjoy an amazing atmosphere with great vibration, laughter, and fun while you create your visions with power and purpose. To register or to find out more details, please visit www.empoweronpurpose.com or EmPower on Purpose in Eventbrite page. Today's empowerment quote is, "Power can be taken but not given." The process of taking is empowerment in itself, by Gloria Steinem. Your life is yours to live, and your power is yours to keep. You don't have to give it away to anyone. So often we give our power away, and a lot of us don't even realize it. When you give your power away, you actually rob yourself and derail your focus from your goals. Giving your power away can happen in so many different aspects of our life. It can happen in your relationship, at work, or even the grocery store. So when you think about, giving your power away, whenever something brings you down or forces you to lose your cool or control, you give your power away. So I came across an article one day that talked about ways we give our power without even realizing it. The article went on to list things like you give your power away if you're having trouble setting boundaries, if you change your goals based on other people's opinions, if other people determine the kind of day you're going to have, and if your self-worth depends on people's opinion of you. The key to remember is that it's never too late to take back your power. We have to be the driver of our life rather than the passenger. So decide that you're going to be in control of how you think, how you feel, and behave regardless of the situation you find yourself in. So without further delay, today my guest is Meisha Osorio. Meisha Osorio always knew she was a dreamer at a very young age. When she was little, she aspired to be an actress. Her mother took her on a mother-daughter trip when she was just 14, and she knew she would be back to Miami to make her dreams come true. When she turned 20 in 2013, she had $0 to her name. Yet she made a decision that she was going to chase her dreams and move to Miami, like she said, at the age of 14. Within 3 weeks, she saved up over $3,000, packed up her dog and cat, and moved to Miami without knowing anyone. She took the biggest risk of her life. She had found a roommate, and thankfully it was a perfect match. From that point forward, she realized by her playing big, it inspired others to play big as well. She found herself on a journey of self-discovery and self-love. She jumped all into life. It took her on a ride of her life. She stayed in Miami almost 2 years before she was diagnosed with general anxiety. She would have constant anxiety attacks that she felt like a heart attack. She struggled for 2 months before deciding it was time for her to leave Miami and focus on her health. She moved back to Ohio. When the doctor prescribed her medication to maintain her anxiety, the possible side effects freaked her out, and she made a decision to take a holistic approach to coping with her anxiety. She started working out daily and eating a plant-based diet. She hasn't had an anxiety attack in 5 years and has never taken medication for her anxiety. After a year of healing with her anxiety, she decided it was time to start a new journey. She moved to Virginia. Virginia was always a place she never thought she would live. It was the place her father's side of the family lived, and she decided to give it a try. She was stranded from that side of her family, but she was willing to try something new. She lost her car on the journey to Virginia in an electric fire. She arrived completely broke and jobless. She truly felt she made a complete mistake and went into temporary depression. She numbed herself with shows, series, and junk food. One day she was hanging with her cousin and had an epiphany. She discovered her whole life she felt she was a mistake because her parents didn't plan for her. She believed since she came from a bad situation, she couldn't possibly be on this planet for good. She decided that limiting belief would no longer be her identity. She decided to start living her authentic self. The only approval she needed was her own. She became a force to be reckoned with. She made it her mission to help others discover the same about themselves. Meisha helped countless people, and along the journey, she met her husband, Alberto. Alberto was her biggest fan. He believed in her more than anyone else ever had. They became a power couple and made it their personal mission to inspire others every day through their lifestyle of adventure. Meisha currently spends her time writing blogs, speaking engagements and arrangements, and caring for her newborn. Her family currently resides in Ohio, but they will be heading out on their new adventure next winter. Welcome, Meisha. You are absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. How are you this evening?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am wonderful. So I just shared, part of your amazing story. Please tell our listeners a little bit more about you and some more of the amazing things that you're doing.
Yes, so I did come back to Ohio with my husband when I found out that I was pregnant last year. We were still living in downtown Miami, but there was no way that we were going to be able to make a studio apartment work for our family because it's me, my husband, our new daughter, Olivia, and then we have 4 animals. So it just wasn't possible to make all that happen. So we decided to come back to Ohio. And even when I came back to Ohio, I was still, the last couple of years were kind of like my darker years for me. And I was still kind of like not fully back to my best self yet, but I was still kind of a little lost, a little confused on the direction I wanted to go in. And we came up here, so I have more family support because my mom's side of the family is up here. And we came up here. We actually ended up getting married this past February, and then Olivia was born in May. And then my husband, he actually decided to quit his job because I've been telling him I really want to start, our own thing and just start chasing our dreams. And that's exactly what we did. He started a skincare business, and I started a juicing business. And they both are doing well, and the juicing business definitely keeps me very busy, and I love it because it allows me to really share my passion for fruits and vegetables and how powerful they are in our bodies, especially for those of us who suffer with, any form of like mental illness or any inflammation, so many different health issues that you can have. It's amazing how powerful fruits and vegetables are. And who would have thought that it would come in my life in the ways that it did? I never thought I was going to own a juicing business. It kind of fell in my lap, but I'm really happy with that. And I teach yoga as well. So I'm just kind of all around in the wellness department.
Absolutely. I love that. And let me just say congratulations for, being a newlywed and also having a newborn. Congratulations. And how amazing is it that, that you have a juicing business. So let's back up just a little bit. So even at the young age, you knew that you were a dreamer at heart. Share a little bit more with our listeners about that.
Yeah, I was always just that kid when I was younger that my, what we parents might call pipe dreams, I just never, ever let those go. I always thought, I was going to do really big things, and at the time I always thought I was going to be an actress, and actually that's why I moved to Miami, was because I wanted to have a bigger pool to be in as far as, acting, and a lot of people were like, well, why wouldn't you go to L.A.? And I'm like, well, because everyone goes to L.A. to do exactly that, so I just chose a different area. But so that was really the thing, is I never stopped dreaming very big. So once you kind of become a teenager, you kind of have more of those realistic dreams of what you're going to do with your life. And I just never really, I did kind of want to be a veterinarian for a little bit. That's just because I like animals, but I feel like I help animals on so much of a bigger platform now than what I could being a veterinarian. And so it was just, school was just never my thing either. So it was just kind of figuring out, I was really good in the arts, and I was just always a very creative mind. And, I just always knew, I was like, I'm going to do really big things. And I just didn't know exactly how that was going to come to play, but I just never let it go. And I just noticed that around all my friends, they would talk about realistic things, and I'm talking about, well, I want to do this. I want to travel the world. I want to do all these crazy, extravagant things. And I never realized that, we're not all of us are like that. And so I'm glad that I stayed unique in those ways.
Absolutely. I love that because, as you mentioned, you truly, and, your story that you share and just continue to dream just shows that, we have dreams as kids. And the important thing is for not to believe that your dream can't come true. You never give up on your dream. And you had a dream and you didn't give up. I think that truly shows the resilience that you have. You're truly really just shows the resilience that you've had throughout all of your life and throughout your journey. So, you talk a little bit about your move to Miami. And, of course, at the age of 20, you didn't have any money to your name. And you decided you weren't going to let that stop you. And truly, like I said, this is all about resilience. What did you do during that time to really, truly help you, raise enough money to move and really go about your way?
So I always say, I realize as I've gotten older that it really takes a tribe in order to, make dreams a reality. And during that time period, I was 20. I was a server. I was a server at Olive Garden, and I had a friend named Anna who, I was always bad with money. As soon as money got in my pocket, I was quick to spend it. And she knew, I was like, man, I just really, I knew I wanted to get back to Florida. Like I said, since 14 years old, my mom took me there. I was like, I'm coming back. And I even have, a photogenic memory to where I'm I remember everything about, South Beach, everything. And so I was talking to my friend one night, Anna, about it, and she was like, well, why don't you see if you can find maybe a roommate? I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And so I started searching, and I actually ended up finding a roommate named Anna. And Anna, she's still in my life to this day. But my friend, Anna, that I was working with, she was like, this is what I'm going to do. At the end of every shift, you're going to give me all your money. So then that way you're going to save up all your money so that you can get down to Florida. And I really just had about 3 weeks where I think I worked probably almost every day. She would take all my money, and then it was also income tax season at the time too, so whatever I got from that, I just combined it all, and at the end of it, I think I had $3,500, and I'm like, all right. So then I ended up taking my cat and my dog, and I went down there not knowing anybody or all that I really could remember of Miami, and that was it. And I started that journey. It was kind of funny because when I actually got down there, I pulled up to where I was going to be living, and it was a gated area, and I'm looking for my roommate's name, and I couldn't find it on there, and my phone had died, so I couldn't call her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just drove 1,900 miles all the way down here. Mm-hmm. She doesn't really exist, and I was freaking out, and it just turned out that it was her old name. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And I had to go to the nearest Starbucks, charge up my phone, and get a hold of her. But it turned out to be, like, a really good experience with her. She just kind of took over, like, an older sister role for me. So she really allowed me to make mistakes and learn from them. Like, she never made me, like, if I didn't have rent on time, she didn't give me a hard time about it. She was always understanding and allowed me to basically be young and dumb and screw up, and she allowed me to learn and figure it out. So she was like the ideal roommate to possibly have for somebody like me.
Absolutely. I love the fact of how you say that it truly takes a tribe, because I definitely think that it does. And, I think that even at no matter what stage you are in your life, no matter what age, people need people. And it was really nice that she was able to, help you, as you said, she took your money, but you were able to save all that money, because if you kept it, she knew that you were going to, burn a hole in your pocket, and you were going to
literally.
And so, absolutely. So she helped, really help you on your journey, for the next journey of your life, basically. And it was all about, having that tribe. So that's I think that's amazing. That's truly amazing. And how, some of the other people that you mentioned that you've had in your life that has helped you along the way. So you did have struggles, and you mentioned that you were diagnosed with general anxiety. How did those struggles affect you from a personal and professional level?
Well, anxiety is one of those things that unless you actually experience it, you can't really understand it. And I've learned that with a lot of people who just don't have anxiety or any form of depression. It's really hard for them to understand. And I get it, because prior to having anxiety, I was just a cutthroat type of person. So I would be very easy to tough it out, figure it out, you'll be fine. Don't let your emotions control you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you realize that's not how anxiety works, then it's just a whole different ball game. And when you really just don't have that control over your emotions, or even though your body's telling you, hey, I feel like I'm having a heart attack, but but logically you're not. It's really hard to really grasp that concept. And so I would definitely say it's helped me be more empathetic and more understanding. And as far as professionally, as someone becoming having my own business, and I'm not yet to the point of where I'm about to hire people, but I will be. And it really just makes me understand that I really want to have a very healthy, fun work environment, because I just feel like a lot of work spaces, I think it causes some of these anxieties and these depressions that people have, and it's just really discouraging. And I just want to really be the change in that, because I'm more understanding. And I feel like, work, for me personally, I just don't feel like work should be the number one priority. I think your wellness definitely needs to be number one priority, because all that other stuff's going to fall unless you take care of yourself. And I definitely had learned that on my journey, because when I first got anxiety, I was working, I would say 40 minutes away from where I lived, and I couldn't be in a car longer than 5 minutes without me going into a full-blown panic attack. So, if I can't get to work, that's a problem. So, and again, it was just more so battling in my mind of trying to, tell myself I can't really be having a heart attack, but I don't know how I probably have checked myself into the emergency room probably 100 times. I feel like I've definitely gone a lot thinking that, okay, I feel it in my heart, I'm giving out right now. And of course it's not. It's all in your head, and it's a crazy feeling. So it's definitely just made me a more empathetic person, more understanding. And like I said, it's just I really want to put more focus on people taking care of themselves, mind, body, and spirit before anything else, because I really feel like money, everything else can come after you're good. So that I would say would be my answer.
Absolutely. And I have to agree with you 150%, because I have experienced an anxiety or panic attack before in my life as well. And so I could definitely identify with just the way that you feel. And, similar to what you mentioned, just prior to having that feeling, it's okay, when you hear people talk about anxiety, it's like, okay, yeah, it almost is like, okay, snap, you want somebody just to snap right out of it. However, when you're going through it yourself, it's just like, oh my gosh, something is happening. It's that fear, it's the fear that comes in because you feel like you're having a heart attack, and, it's like, you don't know how to even really put it into words where other people can understand unless you've experienced it firsthand. And so, yes, definitely. I have to say that, I do. I definitely have a, whole new, just respect and understanding for those that do experience, anxiety. And as you mentioned, it is truly all about wellness and taking care of self, because oftentimes, when people are stressed out, whether it's about work, whether it's about, just life in general, these type of things, when we're not getting getting enough sleep and taking care of our body and getting enough, nutrition, that can really, affect your stress level and can cause, some anxiety and all of that. So wellness, yes, self-care, that is so important. I can't, say it enough. And so now you absolutely. So now you engage in speaking arrangements, which I think that is absolutely amazing. Tell us more about some of those.
So originally when I just started sharing, I really just was all about sharing positivity and just different perspectives. I actually have 2 close friends of mine that are from Miami, and we used to hang out all the time, and they would be like, you need to make a YouTube channel. You need to start sharing stuff. And I'm like, I'll get around to it eventually. And so I just kind of always pushed that stuff off. And then it wasn't until probably this last year that I really started doing stuff. Me and my mentor, we've done a Powerful Now workshop where we would definitely, teach about how powerful the now moment is, and I actually talked about anxiety a little bit in that, and how it doesn't really matter what your story is, what your circumstances are. It's a matter of where you are right now and what you're going to do about it. And so me and my mentor, we really talked about that, and we're also both really good and very big into law of attraction. So we really wanted to teach how powerful you are and how much of a magnet you are. So if you can get more control over how you respond to things and the energy you're sending out, you can really start really creating a life that's really beautiful. So I've done a couple events like that. And then as far as like now with me juicing, I really just talk a lot about health, and I talk about a lot about wellness. And so I have a couple different avenues that I allow myself to speak in, and I do a couple podcasts here and there. But I have currently just taken a little step back from actually really fully engaging in speaking arrangements, only because I'm just kind of really focusing right now on my juicing business and doing yoga, which is also another way to bring in mindfulness. But I realize speaking isn't anything. It can be in a conversation, and a powerful conversation. I'm all about having very powerful conversations, and those really just kind of set, powerful momentum throughout your day and in your weeks, and I'm all about that. And I just very empowering people around me, so I just speed up all those conversations I can get.
Absolutely. I love the Powerful Now movement. I absolutely love it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. When you said it, I was like, oh, this sounds absolutely amazing. Yes,
it was great.
Love that. Yes. So just to kind of, if you could elaborate just a little bit more on the Powerful Now movement, is it, is it a conference type setting? Is it something like where you are there as a speaker? Is it some kind of event that you guys normally have, maybe once a year? Just out of curiosity.
We want to do it more. So the last time we did it, I'm trying to think. I think it was in July, the last time that we actually did it. But it was basically me and my mentor. We opened the space up in a studio, and we set up tables and chairs and, allowed as many people as they wanted to come in. It was actually a very interactive workshop. So, we would have writing exercises to kind of bring out powerful thoughts, or, sometimes I talked about, your childhood. Sometimes, your childhood has so much to do with how you are presently. And so we would help them kind of go into their childhood a little bit to kind of pull out some of those roots so maybe they can let go of them and keep moving, because sometimes we can allow ourselves to get stuck. And as far as her part of the workshop, she was very big about, she's kind of like, if you know who Abraham Hicks is, I call her Abraham Hicks Jr. because that's literally who she is. And, you know, she would really go into detail about how you are a magnet and how you are really attracting everything around you. And so we just have many different ways. We did some meditation exercises, but, you know, just allowing ourselves to really come here to this now moment and just really, you know, decide what kind of life we want to have. And I gave some skills in that process and taking ownership and understanding that, you know, there's so many things that are going to happen outside of you that you have no control over, but you do have control over you and how you respond to it. And you really can direct how you want your life to go. You know, you're not out of control out of that. And so it was a very fun workshop to do. And I know that we talked about wanting to do them again in the future. So I definitely think that will be something that to look out for on the horizons moving forward.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing. And I think it's such a huge need, you know, in a world where, you know, there's so many people that is just, you know, that live in fear, that want to stay in their comfort zones, and they definitely need something, you know, like that, like a workshop to help them just recognize that, you know, where you are now and how to move forward. So that's absolutely awesome. So I know you kind of talked a little bit about, you know, being the authentic self and, you know, living your authentic self. And, you know, definitely with your story, you know, I know that you maybe have had some struggles with, you know, really starting to live in your authentic self. So what's the one thing that you think others who are listening that seem to not be able to really find their authentic self, what's the one thing you think that they can truly do to find their authentic self?
Well, I would say that even in your chaos and your confusion of not knowing, you're figuring out who you are. You know, so even in all that mess that it feels like, you are actually figuring it out. Even though it doesn't feel like you are. And, you know, to just like, you know what you want, you know what you want to do. You just are looking for approval in others, or, you know, and instead you need to look in yourself and realize, like, the only approval you need is yourself. You're the only one who has to say, okay, yes, let's do this, and you have to do it. And for me, I struggled. You know, you have your moments of in and out. It's never a straight, narrow path. It's a journey. And so, you know, some moments where you're on it and you got it and you're in your authentic self, and in other words, you're going to be lost and you're going to be confused. But even in that lost and confusion, just be patient and just trust that process, and, you know, just really allow those moments to learn, you know, those other parts of you that maybe you don't like that you kind of steer away from, because those are going to be your strengths. And I've learned that in the last couple of years. I had very dark last couple of years where I met parts of myself that I was like, I didn't even know this existed. You know, I had a lot of anger, I had a lot of resentment, envy, jealousy, you name it all. I was feeling it all, and, you know, and I didn't like that part of myself, but I had to learn to love that part of myself and heal that part of myself in order for me to step into the person I am now. So I'm thankful for that part, and we all should be thankful for those parts of ourselves, because they are defining moments. And I really feel like if you can get through that, you're solid. You're going to be just fine. And we are all strong enough to get through it. I think our journeys are uniquely designed for us, and we are meant to succeed them. And you just have to trust your process. You have to trust where you're going, and not be scared to go where you want to go. Even if you're the only person who sees what you see, you have to trust that and believe in that, and trust that the right people will come along in your path. And I would say for a good majority of my journey, I don't think that I necessarily had people who believed in me in my really big ways and where I am at now, but those people did show up. You know, I had asked for a mentor for probably the last 6 years, and she popped up. I mean, I actually knew her 3 years ago, and then she is actually truly my mentor now, and a friend as well. And, you know, so it's amazing how the universe works and how things kind of come back into fruition for you.
Absolutely. I think that is so true. As you mentioned, you have to trust the process. So yes. I know that in your journey, you know, you actually faced being jobless, and then also, you know, being broke, and, you know, you thought you had made a mistake with your choices. And, we know that now, I'm not saying that we don't continue to make mistakes, but of course now, you're in a better place. Would you relive those times to get to where you are now? And if so, if you can share just a little bit more as to why.
Yeah, so I'm not scared to be broke, at all. I've actually had some of my really happiest moments in my life being broke.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I have friends, Lydia and Lindsay, those two, they loved me when I literally had $25 to last 2 weeks, and they never cared. And so they and they still saw my greatness in me even then. But I've never actually been a person to be defined by money. But now when I was jobless, the time that you're probably talking about when I felt like I made a mistake is when I moved to Virginia and I absolutely had nothing. At first it was dark because I just felt like I made a mistake, and it was more so I felt like I made a mistake because I came to Virginia, and I just felt it was more of an internal conflict for me because it was always just a place that I said, you know what, I'm never going to live here. If I live here, that means I failed at life. And so when I show up there and I felt like I failed at life, that was my thing. And it was more so because I felt like I was putting my tail in between my legs and saying I couldn't figure out my own life. But then, like I said, I had that beautiful epiphany moment, and it was actually probably one of the only times that I've had a true epiphany moment. And it was when I was with my cousin. We were sitting there, and she was like, "Meisha, get it together. You know what you're doing. You know what you're saying. Like you're such a strong, driven person, and right now you're acting very weak. Like what's going on? And then it just kind of dawned on me. I was like, well, I guess I've been living my life like I was a mistake. Like I was living my life like I was never supposed to be here. My parents had their problems and issues, but that doesn't define me. But I was allowing their mistake to define me and making me feel like because I came out of a bad situation that, I didn't deserve good. And so I had to break that belief. And when I broke that belief, it was like I was set free. And I'm telling you, I don't think that was probably one of them. And I didn't have a job yet, and I was still broke. I had to, scrounge up some change in my car just to get a meal at Wendy's, but I was doing it with a smile on my face. I was so happy. I mean, I was living with purpose. I was living on intention because at that moment I had made a decision that this is where I'm at right now, that this is not where I'm going to stay. And when you can make that decision and trust, your whole life will change. And I did change it. I lived my best life for the longest time, and in that process, I met my husband, and that was a journey within itself. And but I was definitely on probably one of the happiest points in my life that I had ever been. And who would have thought that it would have been in Virginia that I would have had that? And I think that was the whole point, that I had to go there to find myself in the ways that I was scared to. So I almost had to face my fear. And once I faced that fear, I was set free. And that's just how life likes to work a lot. But I would absolutely live all those moments again. And even when I was, like I said, being broke doesn't scare me. Now being broke spiritually, that scares me. But I can do without money. There's always plenty of money out there to make. But being broke spiritually, that's a scary place to be. And I have been in positions where I've almost broke myself spiritually, and I'm just thankful that I have a strong spiritual guidance system inside of me that, alerts me when I'm about to do something really stupid. So I'm thankful for that.
Absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that you mentioned, that, yes, you're not afraid of, of being broke because you're truly not defined by money. And I think that is so important, even when it comes down to, you shining and letting your greatness shine. It has nothing to do with money. Your greatness can shine, regardless of whatever kind of money. You don't need money for your greatness to shine through. Yes, we do have to go through those challenges and those obstacles and, often those storms in our lives, to come out on the other end. But it's truly the lesson that we have to go through in order, to have that blessing, in order, to have what we want in life. We have to go through those hard times. And I definitely think that, some of the story that you shared and, and all of that. You've definitely, mentioned some of those times, and I think it's amazing, that you just continue to, share your story and some of the challenges that you went through. And then also you see how, those challenges that you did have to go through, what came out of it. Because oftentimes we go through storms or go through those challenges, and we don't stop even while we're in the midst of it to even realize that, this is a temporary situation. This is not permanent. Because when you're in it, it's like, oh, my gosh, this is going to last forever. Not understanding that there is a reason. There is a reason why you have to go through that, because it's preparing you for something even greater. So that is absolutely, that's amazing. So what would you say?
My grandma says that, actually.
Oh, does she?
She does. She told me, she was like, sometimes you just have experiences because it might not even be about you at all. It might be the fact that you're going to teach somebody else later in life, so just get through it for the other person. I'm like, got it. Okay. So that's what I try to look at it like.
Yes, absolutely. So what would you say has been your biggest accomplishment up to this point?
I would definitely say right now has been my biggest accomplishment. This has actually been one of my best years, and and it's really not even my accomplishment as far as like my juicing business. That to me was something I just never even thought, and it happened so quickly. It literally like fell in my lap, and then it skyrocketed, and I'm just thankful for those around me. But like I was telling my mentor today, I was like, this success isn't even about me at all. To me, it's like it represents like the underdog, because I'm a true underdog, and I really value that. I value being in that position because, I've been overlooked so many times. Some family has totally thought I wasn't going to amount to much, and regardless of all of that, I just knew, I was like, nope, I know something is not coming together just yet, but it will, like you just have a really strong belief, and I just now to see that, like I'm very open and honest. I'm like, I tell everyone, I was like, I want my juicing business to be as big as Starbucks. I want health to be as easy to get as a cup of coffee. And I'm like, and I'm not scared to dream big. I'm not scared to go after those dreams. And I really stay there. But for me, it's like I go really hard because, like I said, I have a lot of people who are just like me, and I want them to know, like, you can do this too. If I'm finally winning, so that means we're winning. So you need to go figure it out too. Like, I figured it out. I didn't give up, so you don't give up either, and you go chase your dreams. And it's really important to me because I really want more people to chase their dreams, because I think this world just really needs that. We need more dreamers, more visionaries, and I just want to see more of that. And I'm just glad to be in a position that I'm doing that too.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with you. We do need more dreamers, and we need more, people like yourself that's going to empower, people to keep dreaming, as well.
Yeah.
So today the empowerment quote was, "Power can be taken but not given. The process of the taking is empowerment in itself," by Gloria Steinem. Please share what this quote means to you.
So I had to think about this one for a while, and I definitely just overthought it. But for me, it just means not giving away your power. Like our power is in our reaction. So if you understand that nothing outside of you, all the circumstances, everything going around you, you don't have to respond to that. You don't have to let those things bring you down. And also vice versa. If you're always living for those happy moments, or when I get this or when I get that, you're also putting power outside of yourself. And the only true power, which kind of goes back to, my workshops, is in the now. The power is in the now. And if you can understand that your power is here, nothing past tense, nothing future tense can steer that or change that for you, but you have to be well-centered within yourself to understand that, and that's empowerment in itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what is the best advice that you have received, and who gave it to you?
That's another hard one for me, because I have, I just love, I listen to so many inspirational people all the time, and and every single one of them has basically said this in their own unique way. And some of those people are, Wayne Dyer, Abraham Hicks, my mentor Rebecca, my husband, and they've all, and my grandma, because she's also a very spiritual teacher, but it's all about your belief and trusting and vulnerability. And, you have to really believe in something. You almost have to have like strict tunnel vision on it. And if you continuously believe in something, it will come true. And I believe that because, it's taken me about 8 years to get to this point in my life. And I'm like, man, but I never stopped believing. I never doubted myself. And, no matter what anyone said about me, no matter what anyone, if they didn't believe in me or they told me to give up or do something realistic or, they made me want to or tell me to go after smaller stuff, like I never did. I was like, no, it's not my thing. And so your belief in something has to be like 1,000. You really have to believe it, and you have to have tunnel vision, and you just got to keep moving. And that doesn't mean that your approach to things aren't flexible, but you still have to just keep going towards that goal in some form of the way. And I believe that there's always something in your daily life that will put you in that direction, and it's just something small every day that you do, and then it will manifest into something huge. And so I just really, if you can just focus on your belief in something that's really big, and that's the biggest thing you can possibly do.
Absolutely. I know that you've shared so much of, so much good advice today during, this show. But what is one piece of advice that you would give our listeners on how they can empower their own growth and success journey?
So just a couple of days ago, I was with my group of friends and my husband, and we were in the car, and we were sitting here talking, and we're just very big into manifesting. And so the best advice currently that I'm living by, and as a group we're living by, is don't sweat the small stuff if you plan to do big things. And I just, it's so simple, but yet it's so huge. And it's like, I'll give you an example of what that means to me is recently I just had to buy a juicer that's a $1,600 juicer, and at first I was really freaking out about it. I'm like, holy crap, this is a lot of money for me, that you're signing away on. And then the other side of that is if you're planning to have a multi-billion-dollar business, you can't sweat $1,600. So I'm like, okay, so you can't stress about all these little small things that are going to come up. You can't freak out about all the little things that can happen. You just got to keep your eye on the bigger prize. And so I would definitely say do not sweat the small stuff if you're wanting to do big things. You've got to be willing to do those small little things in order to do the really big things. And so that's really my motto currently right now, and I'm really living by that. And that really kind of helps me get out of those moments of I'm freaking out, I don't know what to do, and I always say that to myself, and then I keep it moving.
Absolutely. I love it. So please share with the listeners what is coming up on the horizon for you.
So currently, Livy Juice, which is the name of my juicing business, is actually moving into its a first location. So that will be happening in January. So that's my biggest thing happening for me. And, and of course we're just going to keep focusing on expanding that. I do plan to do more sharing and speaking. I know me and my mentor have talked about doing other events as far as, Powerful Now workshops again. And I'm also I'll be teaching a lot more yoga coming up as well. So I like to do a little bit more of the power yoga or hot yoga. And, I just try to find more balance in my life, and also just continue learning how to be a mom, because on top of all of this, I'm still a new mom, and I'm still just trying to figure that life. And, I'm just really trying to find a lot of balance in my life. And so that's really important to me is, I want to be great business-wise, but I also just want to be happy as well. So it's finding the balance in those two. So that's definitely where I'm at right now.
Absolutely. So, Meisha, thank you so much for sharing your amazing journey and story. Please take the time now to share with the listeners on how they can stay connected with you and support your efforts.
Yep. So on Instagram, you can find me at Ask Meisha and that's AskMeisha. And then you can also follow my juicing business. We are planning to start shipping national, so that will be another great thing. So if you're really interested in having organic cold pressed juices, that is something that will be coming up as well. So we will start shipping and do little subscription plans with that. But that's Livie Juice, and that's on Facebook, and that's LIDIE, and then Juice. And so I do communicate a lot on there and share a lot of cool health tips as well. And those are the main two platforms that I'm currently using. I try to keep a nice balance with social media, otherwise I get drained from it. But those are the ones that I'm the most active on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again. It's truly been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you as a guest on the show.
Thank you. I really have enjoyed being on here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome, and I wish you continued success and blessings as you continue on your journey.
Thank you.
So, listeners, thank you for tuning into tonight's show with our special guest, Meisha Osorio. Meisha shared her amazing story and journey to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. And she also shared for the importance of us to not sweat the small stuff if you plan on doing big things, and keep your eyes on the big prize. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, starting your own radio show or low-cost advertising highlighting your book, business, or events, please email envisionedb@empoweronpurpose.com. Please tune in next week where you will hear an amazing story and journey from another leader, influencer, and motivator. Until next time, be blessed.
Thank you for listening to the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journeys in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to be your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jaresha Moore, and visit EmPowerOnPurpose.com. And remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.